We'll do some more another day. Um, really too. Okay. Hunt. Off. Hmm. Talk about. Let's not do. Let's show you. Okay. I will definitely work a little bit better. No, I don't remember. All right. We're just gonna talk about a couple things to begin. Because this is also probably the part that I'm gonna cut and make a separate video. Um, okay. So this section is going to be, like I said, a little bit more about the Pokemon Champion Simulator coding. So as you can see here, I have multiple text files. I have canonical defaults, workflow protocols. I have large single file apps. So this will break it up essentially into like multiple pages per app, stuff like that. Instead of making it one super long code, this automatically will make the Chat GPT do things to help. System development protocols. This will give me my direct uh, excuse me. This will give me a lot of my direct PowerShell changes, all of those things that I do. You'll see here in a little bit. I do a lot of direct PowerShell changes. Memory aggregator, and then a baseline memory. So all of these in conjunction with the memory here that I create and this prompt is a memory start prompt to essentially this start prompt will tell ChatGPT to read all of these things, import them, which some people will call out for kind of like how Claude does, which it sort of is. But at the same time, I don't use Claude. I'm not going to pay for it. This is much cheaper. It also, by my understanding, it it runs much. I mean, over here it runs. I'm not really quite sure how it runs over there, but this is what I'm doing over here. As you can see, I've got PowerShell blocks. Pretty much all you're going to want to do is copy, and then you go over. The majority of the time, you're going to have your PowerShell. This will have your like your project file. Let's see. There. Right. Which stuff? Kind of giving me a little bit. I can still kind of see that it is recording and everything, but it's giving me so. Rather have Adam. Turn these off. Pain in my ass sometimes, man. Pain in my ass. Okay. Guess we'll give it another window. Display. Here. Okay. All right. Maybe this will help a little bit. So, kind of. Okay. So, you always want to make sure that you are coding from base folder that what? I don't know what that was, but all right. That was weird. You always want to make sure you're coding from your base file, which is all this. You have all this shit in here in the simulator. So what this over here is telling me is this is going to make the changes in these specific areas to do this stuff. When you click this and then drag this over to here, you'll copy it here, kind of like this, copy. There you go. Now you're importing all that, but I don't want to do that because I already did all this. I've already done all this shit. So now what this says, keep strict meta builds clean, then backfill with a clearly labeled popular builds. So as I have already done, Champions deck. Okay. As you can see, Basque Legion has 3. For some reason, maybe it's because it's ranking this one higher. So you see, this is we're having still having a couple issues with some. I got the Sneasler. Sneasler has all meta builds, so all of those. You have your moves, you have the base stats. Incineroar has full meta. Garchomp plus meta. See, that's what I'm not understanding. Maybe it's ranking the popular builds along with metas. Bolt Kyle. I don't know what that is. Still ranking it 1, 2, 3, but it's giving it meta build 1, 2, or 1, 3, 4. So I don't know exactly why it's doing that. Popular builds, because this one doesn't have any meta. It's popular. Figure out. Some of this stuff is just filling in because it has, this is the information that it was put in with. That's my plan for today, kind of work on a little bit of this. And also kind of like make a video on how I am using my, how I am using that for my workflow, I guess would be the correct. Right. So that one, need to make the memory file of. So over here in my coding important, I also have memory file outgoing. So this is the prompt to create the memory file that you will load into the next chat like we're doing now. So it's telling me, boom. It is giving me the memory snapshot now. All right. Now that we got that, over here, we're going to go to our champion sim. We are going to copy, paste, change to 4. Notepad. All. Copy. All. Paste. Now we have the new memory file to carry over into the next chat. And we also need this, like I showed you guys initially, the bootloader. Have that. Now we're going to go new chat. Prompt to start. Copy. Paste. I'm going to make sure that this one is text. Coding important. Now you're going to have your 3, 4, 6. And your champion's memory file, or whatever memory file you're currently working on. Okay. So this is what it's telling us right here. Last known blocker. Latest popular build fallback patch needs compile/runtime verification. Residual white space gaps still reported on some pages. So the white space gap's not a huge deal, but I want to figure out what's going on with the different numbered popular builds and stuff. So that's going to be my current what I'm currently working on. So I'm going to I'm going to give that to Chat GPT and ask it, there are still weird report popular. Fix. Well, that works. We'll go that route for now. Okay. So it is identifying these different issues. Backfilling, popular builds must use the same minimum legality filter. That's something that wasn't applied to the popular builds like I had applied to the meta builds to make sure that they all had at least like the full build and abilities and all that other stuff be listed correctly. So this should be fixing that. Stop player names from printing his abilities. Paste me the current block around popular builds. Such earn the PowerShell override path. So this is sometimes you have to remind it that you want, because the way that I'm doing it, my workflow is PowerShell copy paste. I don't want to be looking in the individual files. I want to be 100% working from essentially here to here and back and forth. I don't want to be working in this a whole bunch, pretty much only to make sure that things are correct and not change a bunch of the stuff in here. All the changes should happen at either this level or this level in the way that I have designed it. If it works something different for you, maybe it'll work a little bit different for you. But like I said, sometimes you have to remind it. So I'm going to tell it to all right. So as you see, it just did a bunch of shit. So this just essentially looked through what you have currently built in your program. That PowerShell. Too big. Okay. Now we're getting into where things kind of start to pick up. Once it gets loaded from exactly where you need to be, as you can see, it now populates the everything you need. Now you just copy, go down here to where it needs to be the correct input. Sometimes I like to do a double copy to make sure that I'm getting the correct stuff in there. You also want to make sure past popular builds fallback to reject player name abilities, blank items, sparse teammates, and sparse moves. So that's telling me that the popular builds should be patched to now have the correct outline. So this just told me the report ran the script to build the champions PDF, which is this. Check that out again. Builds didn't change. Then Aurora didn't change. Garchomp didn't change. Looks like for some reason we lost some builds. We lost a shit ton of builds. Okay. Now you take that, put that in here, and you go, now we lost popular builds. What happened? Okay. Continue with PowerShell patch. And then essentially you're going to follow that workflow. You're just going to continue, just over and over and over, just constantly, this is going to give you a patch. You're going to bring it over here. You're going to apply the patch. You're going to then check that patch to make sure that everything is working correctly. And then from there, you go, you paste a majority of the time. You want to paste your response that you get. That way, the Chat GPT understands that you got a response before you just tell it to continue or whatever. Like I did here, because sometimes it won't fully comprehend. It writes decently good code that I have found. I mean, everything seems to work so far for me. See how that goes. And it looks like it patched. All right, let's see. It looks like popular builds. Some are popular, but some are not. Yeah, okay, so what I'm seeing now is this is just popular. Okay. So now we need to figure out, and give it back to it. Populated. All right. All right. And now, really, this is a lot of the workflow I found. Instead of searching through all of these different program files and text files and searching through all this shit, sometimes you're just waiting for it to give you tech or some code for you to run it again. Weird. For some reason, it's still not filling all of the info. I like this. This is good. This is meta build, but this is popular. But then here, it doesn't fill any of this information. Need to tell it to fix information without showing player names as abilities. Okay. So that step in the right direction. Missing of the direction. Popular build info. Fix this. All right. All right, and there is that. So copy here, paste. Like patch popular builds to preserve suspect. Boom, player source name suspect. Here to it shows that they have a source. None of the abilities or anything that they're using. I don't understand that. See, this one seems to have. All right, are we back? Yeah, it looks like it. It says unstable though. Guess we're just gonna plug on until it tells me that we lost it again. Not really quite sure. It says unstable, but we'll continue. So yeah, it for some reason it's showing certain builds with the name and everything, but it is not giving all of the information like we were seeing. Meta builds is filling out really nice. All of that information. It just seems like the popular build, which really isn't a big deal, because it doesn't seem like for the logic layer, really they're going to want to stick to these. Is going to be my thought. Like most people aren't, if they're using Sneasler, you pretty much aren't. My guess is you're not straying very far from these. Uh, so I don't know. I guess we'll work on the AI layer now and see what happens. Stick to maybe only meta builds, unless if you don't have meta builds for like the Sinistra. We'll just have to see how that works. Okay. Let's just move on for that from now. Let's see how we're gonna do that. For now. Logic layer or recommendation. Station. 2 M's. Yep. All right, so what this is saying: damage calculation shell, speed order, targeting rules, move category, effect placeholders, turn context object, blah 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 blah. Polish it. I don't need all. Okay. Continue with PowerShell patches. So these patches will essentially create all the scaffolding. It just create all the scaffolding. It just listed all of the files, all the packages, all of pretty much everything I'm going to need, at least at this where I am currently right now at this very moment. Create all of this, and then we'll build the next step from there. I don't know why it keeps saying it's unstable. I mean, I didn't do anything to the web internet. So we'll have to see. And then as we work on the logic layer, we'll be able to zero in. There we go. Now it's excellent. Now we work on the logic layer, we'll be able to really zero in on actual player choices. And we'll be able to get more in line with the master ball / champion players to really get the simulator to make the correct choices, like with protects and stuff like that. That way it can determine the correct the simulations can be correct, should be what I say. Okay. Copy here. Bam. All right. Do these. All right. We continue. GPT. All right. All right. So once that's done, we'll be able to rerun it through there. Still giving. It's telling me something. That's telling me there's a potential issue. Those stat modifiers, bruh. What's it telling me? What's it telling me? All right, so as you can kind of see here, this is giving the super effective scores, or the, what do they call it up here? The type chart helper. As you can see, that's all right here. So normal, rock, ghost, steel doesn't really do much. Oh, normal. Okay, so it shows it's only going one direction, like fire, grass, ice, bug, steel, water, fire, ground, rock. It's going that way. Very fighting, dragon, dark. B. Now it loads all that in, and the patch for type effectiveness, immunities, and updated test coverage. Now we need to run it, run the scripts to make sure that everything populates correctly. Bam. Oh, what happened? All right, test was wrong. Copy. No, no, not the core. There, so. Ooh. Bruh. Problem. I know. Ah. Yeah, it told me to do it from there, I thought. Oh, correct. Uh-oh. All right. So that tells me that a turn goes through and the turn works correctly, according to this. This is telling you. Turn 2. So turn 1, Dragapult, Garchomp, Mega Frostlass. Yeah, Mega Frostlass. Helping Hand, Rock Slide. All right. All right. Looks like that patch is ready. Running. Continue. Oh. This side is pretty boring on it. I'm probably just gonna stop streaming for this part. We got the 100 wins. I think that was a pretty good start. Pretty much I'm gonna make a video on my quick uh, workflow with Chat GPT and how you can get it all set up. I'm gonna make a quick one to quickly go over just the outline of it, and then I'm gonna make a deeper one to go over all of the actual text files and everything you can look at for the memory files and all of that. Maybe I might make it together. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna do a little bit more coding. Not really worried about having it being watched, but yeah. I'm gonna try and stream a little bit more. Maybe I might do some Friday or Saturday, maybe over the weekend. I know I have a Pokemon Champions tournament coming up on Sunday. I know I'm gonna be doing that, so maybe I'll come back and do a stream after that and kind of talk about it. But yeah, keep on the lookout if you were watching. I appreciate you. Catch you guys on the next one.